Hello, everyone. Malaysia property market overview for 2022 and beyond. Thank you to the Star for inviting me to share in this virtual showcase. A little bit about myself. I'm Charles Tan, the founder of kopiandproperty.com. I am not part of any developer or real estate agency or even banks mortgage sales team. I can say that I'm not considered any of the so-called experts in the market. However, I am a real property investor and I'm a working professional. I love property market. During this 2-year MCO period, I bought 4 properties and I think the property market, I truly love it. I have access to condo swimming pools in 6 countries, in 6 cities and towns in Malaysia. I have spoken in 9 states in Malaysia so far, including in Singapore as well, and I truly love it. Yeah, I love speaking a lot. I served as a judge for real estate awards in propertyguru.com and iproperty.com. My articles and views have appeared in major media, magazines, property portals, including The Star, for example. I've spoken on TV, was a assistant producer for a real estate show as well. And I'm a Toastmaster. So I have 17 years in the Toastmasters, and I'm currently the third highest ranking officer in District 51, Malaysia. So if you're a Toastmaster as well, hey, nice seeing you. Property market, before, during, after COVID-19. Actually, what has happened, right? Today, we'll just run through some of the things that has happened throughout this period where I guess most of us are at home, lockdown in the beginning. We felt that the world is ending soon. Now, just look at the traffic jam in the Klang Valley and you understand that, hey, I think everything is starting to get back to normal. Some people say the jam is worse than before. So the first thing is the property transactions, right? Everyone says that, hey, property market is bad. Hey, property market is good. Hey, property market is improving. Hey, property market is whatever, does not matter. Look at the transactions, right? On a quarterly basis, just one quarter itself, we have 90 over 1,000 transactions, of which residential alone is about 60,000, right? So you can see that the volume of transaction is not 9,000, everyone, it's 94,000. So is the market still moving? Definitely, the market is moving, yeah? And remember the number, yeah? 60,000, around 60,000 residential. Later, when I show you the overhang, then you understand why I said you should understand what is a transaction per quarter, which is about 60,000, yeah? Malaysia property market is emerging from a storm previously. Yeah, so this is a recent news article on the May 17th. What this article tells us is that it used to be pretty bad. It used to be very slow. It used to be very negative. We are now emerging from this negativity. Yeah, the article does not say anything about property price rising and things like that. It just says that we are starting to recover. Yeah, starting to emerge. Yeah. Malaysia real estate is recovering, but slowly, right? The most important 2 points is, first, is recovering. Second point, it's not very fast. It's still very, very slowly, right? Of course, it's very simple. Some people who may want to buy, they may still feel, will COVID-19 be striking back? So they may pull back, right? And some people feel that they want to see whether their jobs are secure or not before they put in that purchase plan. Yeah. But let me share with you my recent visit to one project for which the property price is at least 700,000. There were so many people in the show gallery, and the salesperson told me that for one particular project, if I want to buy, I cannot use credit card. Do you know why? Because if you use credit card, if they want to return your money, it's very hard. The reason is because right now, the person can only be in the waiting list. So if waiting list, that means you should give check. because if waiting and you didn't get it, at least they can return your check easily. Yeah. So this is the state of market for some projects at the moment. Not all, yeah, not all, but some. And then we also have this lack of buying interest. Another very article, right? A very good article. Lack of buying interest because of inflation, because of high interest rates, and of course, uncertainty. Uncertainty, of course, I explained earlier. So rising inflation, so think about it, right? Why rising inflation, people don't buy property? Well, the amount of money we have on a monthly basis is quite certain. So if inflation rises, that means the monthly expenses also rises. When the monthly expenses rises, of course, our money for property is reduced, right? And this is the result why when inflation goes up too fast, too high, the interest in property market definitely will be dampened, yeah? Secondly, higher interest rate. Remember, recently Bank Negara has increased the interest rate. In fact, it surprised me as well because I thought Bank Negara may have wanted to just let the market recover a little bit more because before increasing the interest rate. But it seems that since the whole world is increasing interest rate, Bank Negara have no choice but to follow. Otherwise, perhaps the ringgit may get even lower. Yeah. So this article tells you that buying interest is lacking, right? So if you are a property investor, right, this article should be a good article for you because it meant that less people are fighting with you, right? But remember, yeah, buying the wrong property is still the wrong decision. Yeah, no matter when you buy, no matter what you buy, if it's the wrong property, it's still a wrong choice. Yeah. Will the market crash because of overhang property? Remember just now we were talking about the quarter whereby the transactions for residential properties alone is about 58,000 or close to 60,000. That's per quarter, yeah? Now let's look at overhang, yeah? Overhang is 2 articles after this. Let's look at the global growth, which will be slowed tremendously because of inflation, because of war, the Russia and Ukraine war, and for many countries, World Bank says recession will be hard to avoid. There was no mention of specific countries, and I'm not sure whether Malaysia is one of them, but generally it says some countries, recession will come. Yeah, so think about it, right? Recession will come. Does it mean opportunity or does it mean bad scenarios is going to appear? Yeah, think about it. World Bank also says that the global growth is going to slow down and there's a potential for 1970s stagflation. Stagflation is a very dangerous thing. Right? Stagflation is more dangerous than inflation because inflation means maybe the economy is growing, but the prices are growing. Stagflation means nothing is growing, but the prices keep growing. Very bad, yeah? So there is this potential, yeah, there is potential. And look at the first news, which is 2.9% growth. So is the world growing? Yes, the world is still growing. It's just that it's 2.9%. Yeah, it's no longer the high growth that was previously, but generally on a world basis, 2.9%. I'm very sure Malaysia is higher than 2.9% for this year. Now, we hear this financial crisis. Just now we look at the World Bank predictions, right? So my friend recently told me that, hey, Charles, financial crisis is coming. Did you know that? Actually, I don't know whether financial crisis is coming or not, but in 1997, I witnessed firsthand the ASEAN financial crisis. It was bad, really, really bad. My colleagues, most of them eat in the office because everyone was worried that they may lose their job. In 2008, we had the US subprime crisis. Again, the economy was pretty bad. Yeah. And then after that, every other month, there's always that prediction that, hey, next financial crisis is coming. And then the next one, next financial crisis is coming. There was even a forecast of house prices dropping by 73%. Amazing prediction. What happens to prediction is that, example, financial crisis prediction, if they keep on predicting, it will come true. One day it will come true. Yeah. So think about it, right? Financial crisis coming. Do you wait and do nothing? Your decision, yeah? And yeah, look at this amazing number of overhang property. Can you see the number? Can you see the number? It is 57,000 units based on NAPIC's source, right? So is this going to crash the market? Think about it, yeah. This is total units which are not sold after hand key. However, on a quarterly basis, we have 60,000 units being transacted. Think about it. Secondly, I ask you one question. If you did not like the property last year, so of course this year it goes into the statistics, would you like the property now? If you don't like the property now, you don't like property last year, why would it crash the property market? What has it got to do with the property market? Yeah, think about it, yeah, everyone. This is a very good question to answer, right? For those people who kept on saying that overhang will crash the property market. By the way, many things will crash the property market. Example, financial crisis that we talk about. This may crash the property market. Another example, maybe hyperinflation, maybe stagflation. Yeah, all this may also crash property market because people worry too much, right? Unemployment rate. If so many people are out of job, so many people are unable to pay their mortgages on time, this may also crash the property market. However, one whole group of property that no one likes crashing the property market, maybe just ask yourself, right? If you own a house right now, somebody comes to you and say, hey, you know, so many overhang property, can you sell me your property lower? What's your answer? If your answer is, wow, so many overhang, okay, I sell you lower, then property market may crash. But if your answer is, property overhang has got nothing to do with my selling price. My selling price is determined by me. If I'm in financial distress, I sell lower. If I'm not, I wait. So you see, that is why property market has not yet crashed. Despite all these numbers throughout the years, everyone, overhang didn't happen yesterday or the year before. Look at the number, everyone. Yeah? It has happened a long time ago. Zoom in a little bit deeper, right? And we realize, oh, so these are the states with the actual high number of overhang properties, right? We can see some states, oh, this state, yeah, I know this state have too many condos, right? And some state, this state, such a small state, maybe too many condos were built previously, probably, right? But one key reason, everyone remember, we have 2 years of MCO, which meant that students cannot go to the bigger cities to further their studies, first of all. Graduates who graduated may not be able to find a job in the bigger cities, and they are only recovering now. People are only going back to the university now, yeah? Wait a little bit more, yeah? Don't just look at the property transaction, also look at the shopping mall or purpose-built office, right? Everyone says this. There are just too many malls. Everyone, right? Stop building more malls. There are just too many malls. And then they also say this. Now, everyone after COVID-19 will work from home. No one will work in office. Look at the occupancy rate, everyone. Purpose-built office, occupancy rate is still 71.2%. Occupancy rate for the mall or shopping complex is 76.2%, right? Of course, it is not 80%, it is not 85%. Fully agree. However, it's almost the same, everyone. It's almost the same, which means that it is still stable. People are still demanding those units in popular malls. In not so popular malls, whether MCO is here, whether COVID-19 is here, if the mall was not popular, think about it. 3 years ago, the not so popular malls, they were also in distress. It is not because of COVID-19 that they become distressed. Yeah, same thing. The office where when you drive in and park your car and there's water dripping from the ceiling, those kind of office would have struggled before COVID-19. It has got nothing to do with COVID-19. Yeah, always think about it, right? If it's very bad, then why do people still go to office and rent office units? Look at occupancy rate, right? Why do people still go to mall? By the way, these days when I go to the mall, the car park is full and I find it very hard to find a car park. Of course, I'm not talking about not popular malls, right? So think about it, right? Is it too many malls or is it too many not so good malls? Is it too many office building or is it a little bit more of the not so good office building? Think about it. This happened recently, and see, it's not only me who is surprised, even some people in Singapore who write for Straits Times, they are also surprised that Malaysia lifted the key interest rate. Yeah, the reason is because inflation at that particular point in time has not yet really risen a lot in Malaysia. Of course, the chief concern is because the petrol is subsidized. In many countries, the inflation is already double digits. In many countries, the inflation is already the highest in a decade, the highest in 15 years, the highest in 20 years. No idea, but it's already happening in many, many countries. Yeah, Malaysia, not yet. That was the reason why I thought Bank Negara would pro-growth rather than thinking about increasing the interest rate. Yeah. How will interest rate be affecting the market? We were talking about this interest rate that Bank Negara increased, right? So how will interest rate be affecting market? Well, just need to remember that property investment is a long-term decision. And if you look at the interest rate alone, right, it does not tell you the picture. Just look at all the Malaysia housing price index for the last 10 years, from 2010 all the way to 2021, right? So 11 years around there. If they use 2010 as the base year, by 2021, nearly all the properties have shown a very healthy growth in price. Example, terrace landed properties. The price has more than doubled. High rise, where everyone say, oh, high rise are not so good because landed is better. High rise has nearly doubled in price. I know someone will now say, no, Charles, you don't understand. There are some high rise where the price is going down. There are some high rise where in the auction market, after fifth auction, still unsold. Super true. You know why? Is it because of the high rise? Or is it because the price was overpriced in the first place? Is it because people bought condo? Or is it because people bought the overpriced condo in the first place? Is it because people bought after looking through all the different condos in the area and decided that, hey, this is a good condo at the right price? Or people bought the condo because someone told them the price will go up even further? Think about it. This is the reason why property investment can be scary for some and can be very rewarding for some. Yeah, and if you look at semi-D, landed property, semi-D, the rise has been about not as much as high rise, but still very healthy, 100 to 177%. Yeah, and of course the rest is also a pretty good number, even if not as good as the semi-detached, high rise, or the terrace homes. Yeah, so if you own a terrace home, if you own a high rise, by the way, if you own a property which has risen in price, let's say 60%, 50% over the last 10 years, good decision. Now, let's look at a little bit more outside Malaysia. Right? There are so many advanced property markets that will always be moving far ahead than us. Yeah. Australia. Anybody has been to Australia? I've personally been to Perth. I've been to Sydney. I've been to Melbourne. I think this is a very good country if we intend to go and have a vacation. Everything is nice. Everything is clean. Weather was fine, right? The only thing is the property price is a little bit high. When I touched down in Sydney airport, the taxi driver was driving us to our hotel in downtown. And I asked, how's life here in Sydney? He answered, whoa, everything's good, except the property price. So he could only afford a property which was about 55 or 60 kilometers away from the city center, right? So property price has always been very, very high in some countries because the property price has risen, right? Just like Malaysia, you can just look at the number just now. Property price has also risen, but in some cities in Australia, it has risen more than other cities. Melbourne, Sydney, of course, it has risen by far more than all the smaller cities, right? So it says here, Australia's property boom is over because house prices slow rapidly, right? So it says that the house price is slowing and it has not been seen in the last 30 years. What does this tell you, everyone? This tells you that the property boom has lasted for the last 30 years. And now it is slowing down. I think it should slow down a little, right? Because if it has been for 30 years, perhaps it's time to slow down a little before it continues, yeah? Before I continue, then look at this another article about Australia. Australian house price drops for the first time since September 2020. What does this article tell us? It tells us that it has been rising and rising and rising, and it is dropping for the first time since September 2020. Right? So if it drops for a while, it's fine, right? It has been rising for so many quarters, so drop for the first time is definitely normal. Yeah. Record number of London homes sold off market. So selling homes privately is no longer a preserve for the wealthy. In Malaysia, when we want to sell a house, we usually get an agent, and agent would advertise the property for sale, and then there may be people who come and view and things like that, right? In London or even in Australia, many house buyers chooses not to advertise to the mass market. They will tell the agent, and the agent may do an open house where they invite some potential buyers. They will go and visit the house, and then the person who likes may put it in a bid, right? And by the way, this also tells you that the transaction, that the property market is very lively, because actually they don't even need to advertise to the mass market and they can still sell, yeah? Or it can also tell you that the people are quite well off and they are able to afford the property, right? But generally, this tells you I would say a healthy market. At the same time, just now we were talking about healthy market. At the same time, another article, same time, says that, oh, UK housing market starts to slow because more sellers cut prices. Just now they were saying that it's easier for the seller to sell the house. Now it says that seller cut prices, right? So what it also tells us is that many of these reports may be on a certain city, may be on a certain type of property, maybe on a certain group of people, right? Whatever we read, everyone, whatever we read all sides, understand, so that when we put in the property investment down payment, is likely to be a good decision, yeah? Last part, is property investments really still an investment? Of course, I'm the founder of kopiandproperty.com. Of course, I would love to say that property investment is really still an investment. However, it is not necessarily always an investment, yeah? So it is very important for us to understand what are some of the reasons why property investment can be an investment. So all these factors are very important. And by the way, I have no properties to sell you at the end of the session, yeah? First of all, shelter is a basic need, everyone. Property is not like a car. If you don't have a car, you may not face any difficulty. But if you don't have a property, then the only thing that you can do is to find a place under the tree, under the bridge to sleep, right? To stay. So shelter is a basic need. Everyone needs shelter. When people move to a new city, they need a new house. When people move jobs to another city, they need a house, right? So shelter is a basic need. When I was in the UK, during the winter, I heard the ambulance more frequently, the siren of the ambulance more frequently. I asked my housemates why. He says, because there are many people who stay under the bridge and they die during winter. Yeah, so this is a very sobering fact to tell you again, shelter is a basic need. Yeah. COVID-19 and demand for property, do you think how they say about COVID-19 affecting the property market is true? Like, for example, no one is going to office. Well, Citibank says if you want to be paid city wage salaries, you better work in the city. Google says, I will reduce your pay if you stay very far away. Elon Musk says, ask them not to come if they refuse to come to office to work, right? People have to go back to office. It's not because the bosses are demanding. It's because the work will become more effective, more efficient, and there will be the work culture if you work in office. It won't happen if you work at home, yeah? And many businesses just have to come back to the norm that when their customers come to visit them, the customers won't come to visit them in their house, lobby, or cafe. The customers will come to visit them in their office. You also do not conclude your deals in a lobby sofa. You will conclude a deal in a business office, yeah? Population is the driver for property transactions. If the population is no longer growing, stop thinking about property. Yeah. For Malaysia, we are not considered a big country. However, just look at the growth, everyone. Our growth is still 1.3%, about 400,000 new Malaysians every year. Yeah. Maybe slowing because they say a lot of Malaysians don't want babies, right? And the fertility per couple is also dropping. But 400,000, still a huge number, everyone. Demographics. Median age for Malaysia is about 29 or 30, right? Which means that at a certain age, they will need a property, right? If you're 29, probably that's your first property. If you're 35, probably you need to upgrade the property. If you're 45, probably you want to buy your final property for you to stay until you get old, right? Yeah, that's what I did. I'm 45 this year. I bought a property last year, and I intend to stay in this property until I retire. Yeah. Inflation rate and property. By the way, inflation rate and property comes together. That's the reason why property investment, they always say it's a hedge against inflation, right? So can we run faster than inflation? Answer is no. Inflation will always be running faster than us, especially with everyone who is working and having a salary increment. Inflation will run faster than you. However, if you have a property and your property increase in price, like what happened just now, I showed you the 2010 to 2021, then you realize, I am running as fast or faster than inflation. And this is the reason why if there's inflation, you need to hedge against inflation. It does not need to be property, everyone, right? It can be any investment, but just make sure that investment actually work. And for property investment, yeah, you can look at the property price anywhere in the world. As long as the country is stable, the property price will go up simply because of inflation. This is the non-performing loan numbers for Malaysia. Remember, everyone, when the non-performing loan goes up, it means that people cannot pay their loans. It means the market is in financial distress. Non-performing loan in Malaysia remains very low by world standard. And I think the Bank Negara of Malaysia has been doing pretty good job because they force the bank to make sure they only lend when the buyers can pay, right? I'm very sure all of you have listened to so many people complaining, how come the bank refused to lend to me? I'm very sure, right? And that is precisely the reason why this has been a way that people who could not afford would not be given a loan, right? This is very different from the subprime mortgage crisis previously, where everyone and anyone could get a loan if they wanted to. Property investment, everyone, takes a very long time. If it took you a very short time, you were lucky. That's all. Do not think of this as a speculation or as a gamble. Otherwise, you will suffer because it takes a long time. Viewing property takes a long time. Buying a property takes a long time. Getting it ready for you to stay or for your tenants to stay is a long time. And when you intend to sell, again, viewing takes a long time. And when you manage to sign the agreement, the money comes into your bank account many months later, right? So property investment takes a long time, yeah, everyone. However, what is important is this amazing chart called Malaysian House Price Index, right? Can you see all the numbers here in the red line? Can you see all the numbers? Is there any number which is negative or not? Right? So you can see that some years it went up very, very crazily, 13.4% increase. Look at one of the year, 2012, 13.4%. Crazy, right? Yeah, of course, subsequently, it starts to go down. However, the number is still positive. Until 2021, it says that most probably the property price is no change, 0.6% up, still up. So what happens to the property price in the upcoming few years? Well, your guess is as good as mine. But let me tell you, when there's inflation, there's inflation. When there's inflation, there's property price increase. And your favorite bowl of noodle will also increase in price, yeah? This is the typical annual change by state and average price. The source is NAPIC. Even if you cannot see the number, because the number may be small, it is okay. I tell you that the prices have always been moving upwards, always, yeah. And except for sudden change in certain years, yeah, it becomes negative. Otherwise, it would have been like this, right? This is overall Malaysia, and this is by state. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what I just shared, please do go to facebook.com, click like, and you are able to read a lot more articles. Otherwise, you can go to copyandproperty.com, sign up for my articles. It's all free. I do not run any courses. I don't sell any property. I do not have a rent tag, and I'm not from the developer. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to the star for inviting me to share my views. And in the meantime, stay safe, everyone, and all the best in whatever you do. Yeah.